Welcome to the Powered by Age-Friendly City Zoomcast reality-style podcast.
We are movers and shakers, shaking up the old notion of silent, helpless, invisible seniors.
This is a new series of podcasts funded by the City of Vancouver and the 411 Senior Center Society.
As PBA AFC ambassadors, we
raise awareness,
share our original stories and poems,
inform, advocate, and involve seniors in discussing important social issues.
In short, these podcasts will help us,
you, in creating an age-friendly city for Vancouver today,
tomorrow the world.
You can hear us everywhere podcasts are heard. Hello, and welcome to Powered by Age-Friendly City Podcast. I'm Charlotte Farrell, your host for today, and we are talking about brain health. We're going to be doing some interesting activities facilitated by Robin today. And although other people will be coming on during the line, we'll just have the people that are here right now say their 15 seconds of fame introduction, starting with Judith.
Hi, everyone. I'm Judith. I'm a member of 411 Senior Center and 2 storytelling groups.
Leslie.
Yes, I'm Leslie Hebert. I live in New Westminster, and I'm an ESO teacher. I teach online. I'm also a writer. I write poems, flash fiction, and I'm currently working on a Japanese memoir travel story.
Neil?
Yeah, hi, I'm Neil Ryan. I'm a writer of short stories and poetry, and I do the 24-hour writing contest every quarter, I guess it is, that comes out every 4 months, and have actually been recognized on one of them as a winner. So I write my short stories and my poetry every day. Something I write.
I'll make a comment about that after Robin and Luke. And Robin, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Robin. I am a community radio maker, as well as many other things. A mentor on the podcast project Powered by Age, and happy to be here today.
And Luke?
Yeah, Luke. I'm not a writer, but I do enjoy listening to you guys' stories, so good to be here today.
And I am a poet, storyteller, sometimes filmmaker, and I'm excited that on America's Got Talent, the person that won the $1 million was a poet. So we really...
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yes, how cool is that? And the genre, all of those different music award shows that never had a poet before. So he not only showed up, he showed off with the prize. We're going to, one of the things that I'm working on now is a book of affirmations and positive thoughts. We have so many writers within our podcast group and in another poetry group that I work with that my goal by the end of the year is to have affirmations. So we're inviting people to either send their affirmations or write 4 lines positive thoughts and email them, because we're going to have this book that will help as people enter yet another year under COVID, they say, positive thoughts and affirmations for each day. Now today, Robin is facilitating us in some activities and explaining to us a nice graphic that's on the screen called Healthy Brains. So take it away, Robin.
Today's topic is about memory and how to maintain a healthy brain as we age. And what I discovered is that there are 6 pillars to having a healthy brain. And when I was thinking about it and discovered the information, it really made a lot of sense to me. And part of the reason it made sense to me was that it resonated, in terms of it really making sense, but also that there is such an overlap in terms of how some of these things reiterate themselves in other categories and reinforce each other to increase overall health. And so from the diagram on the screen there, you'll see that there's a bunch of icons, and the diagram itself kind of shows that the overlap exists. So what I want to do today is just tell you what those 6 pillars are. And in some cases, we'll do some exercises. And in some cases, I'll just ask you questions about how those things pertain, or how you experience those things in your life. So starting with the first pillar, and not necessarily the most important pillar, because I think they're all equitable, they're all equal, is be social. And I was thinking about this in COVID times, because that has created some challenge for all of us to be social. How have you managed to keep that up in this time of COVID? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out my screen here.
I was thinking of Leslie talking about her storytelling groups, not one, but 2 storytelling groups. I have been talking more to people on the phones. I've really missed the social contact of going to gatherings. That's the thing my heart is longing for the most, is being able to sit down with someone for not a virtual cup of tea, virtual coffee, people inviting me to virtual coffee, but to actually sit down. The day we had a small planning group meeting with Leslie, Luke, and Joel, I was so excited because it was the first time since February that I'd been out of my house and met with any people. So even the 6 feet apart, it really, it means something to sit across from someone. But short of that, it's really, I've experienced having 2 virtual birthday celebrations for people in my family. And that was great because, we were in different cities and people were able to do kind of some silly things. So, but it's very important to me, and it's the thing that I feel loneliest for, is the social contact.
Mhm.
What about you, Leslie?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of Zoom and a lot of chatting on the phone. But the energy of actually being with another human being in the same physical space is so different. And I was still going to my writers group. We were meeting in the park every Monday evening. Now that the evenings are getting darker and the weather's getting worse, we've sadly decided to switch to Zoom. It's not going to be the same. As for physical closeness, I talk to my neighbor occasionally across the fence from over 6 feet away. And we did actually visit a friend's apartment, and again, sat well spaced in the front room. And that was it. That's, twice. Now we're getting excited about going for medical appointments and going to the dentist.
That's true. What about you, Leo?
Well, I keep saying that my life hasn't changed very much. I what's different is that I don't have any open mics anywhere. I used to go just to a couple of them on occasion, and the one on Sunday afternoon, I try to get to that one every Sunday. But but I guess the major difference for me is that I no longer have a men's group that I would attend, and it's only once a month. So I'm blessed. I have a partner that I share my space with, and we're blessed to have an occasional thing to do in common. So Michelle's now working from home, which she had an office downtown Vancouver, and we moved all of her. She's an engineer, so she's got 2 huge computers with 2 huge screens, and we brought that all here. So we get to have meals together in the morning and in the evening, but in the daytime, I'm either writing on my computer. I have a little alcove in my den. I have a little alcove, and I have a set up in the closet, as you can see, and so I do miss, like Leslie and I would chat at the poetry reading on Sunday, and I miss that. We had plotted at one point in time to do a presentation, a joint presentation of poetry and story, which we have done on one of Charlotte's programs. So, but I'm pretty much on my own, and I get out in the world, so that does. I know that you're supposed to be concerned as a senior, that, but I have no fear of going out in the world, and like this morning we had water delivery, and I go and talk to the guy. Now we still stay 5-6 feet apart, whatever. And I'm in the middle of reading a book I want to share with you, and it's called Mind to Matter, and it's a teacher that I know, and he says when we're 6 feet apart is when our energies, with whoever we're with, our energies begin to connect.
Yeah.
And so I miss that 6 feet apart connection.
Well, it's one of the things that I think, and thank you for kind of bringing that up incidentally, Neil, but I think, part of the being social activates the feel-good hormones in us, you know, and those feel-good hormones are dopamine, which is a really important part of the brain's reward system. They hate that they help us with those sensations of pleasure and encourage us to learn and remember, and they help with our motor systems and functions. And then serotonin, which also helps our learning ability and our memory, but also can help regulate our sleep and our appetite, and how we're digesting our food and what our metabolism is doing. Oxytocin, which is really important in that bonding, and that feeling human connection and building relationships. And endorphins, which of course are the ultimate pain reliever, that get produced naturally when we're flooded with with endorphins and can also be stimulated not just through exercise, but also just that physical touch and cuddling. So so feeling good or being social, super important. The next one on the list is engaging our brains in learning something new or challenging ourselves. And you know, one of the mandates of this podcast is to help us learn and tackle new things, whether it's getting over fear of technology or showing up to tell stories, or you know, to raise our voices and our concerns about things. It's all about engaging the brain, and so I'm curious to know how or what the most recent thing you learned is. Anybody learn anything that they're like, aha, I just learned that and I feel really proud?
Yeah, I just took a writing workshop last weekend, and I learned about plot lines, which is going to be very useful for my ongoing Japanese writing project.
Nice. Yeah.
I've tackled. There's I've forgotten what the hell that's one of the things I notice about age is that my short-term memory for things is not as good as I want it to be. But anyway, I engage books on Kindle, and I have done a book called, and I'm doing the exercises that are in it. It's called E², and each time each exercise takes a few days, and so and in the meantime I'm reading. And Dawson Church, I know Dawson Church from being certified as a EFT practitioner, which is known as the tapping. So I'm in the middle of reading his book, which is learning about mind and matter and the connection between the two of them. And I've also started doing tarot cards, and I mean, I've been doing them for some time. I've been doing tarot cards, but now I'm getting, I draw a tarot card every day, and then I write about it so that I'm learning more and more about the cards themselves. And I do that every day. So I have for the last, say, probably the middle of early August, I started doing a card every morning. I draw a card, and then learn about the card. So yeah, I keep my mind active. That's for sure.
Judith,
you're amazing, Neil. You're always doing something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, this adventure it's called life. It improves with age if you keep improving, if you keep working at it.
Judith, anything to share that you've learned in the last week or so?
The last week has been full. I learned last Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but last Tuesday, how to put a story from Anchor onto the podcast. And that was fun. That was really exciting. I learned something new there. And this week I've been focusing on stories from the Canadian Arctic relating to the stars. So I have two aspects so far. which are the legends and stories related to the cosmos according to the Canadian Indigenous North, and also the actual names of the constellations and relating them to the Inuk names. So I'm also learning how to pronounce Inuk names, which is very challenging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Way to go about that. That's very reconciliatory also.
Oh yes, and I've just finished a course on Indigenous Canada
Okay.
and managed to find a database that had the treaty from the territory where my mother was born. And I learned that I'm from the treaty bowl with one spoon. So it was really interesting actually reading the actual treaty.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you. So many interesting things you're doing. Holy smokes, you guys.
I learned how to edit music into the Audacity when I'm doing an edit of the podcast or the poetry things, or for my show. I have to broadcast my show from home, and I've learned. I stopped resisting. My brain was saying it didn't like the picture of the waveform, but as I put my brain into the waveform and imagining traveling along the lines, I've been able to insert spaces for things.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah. It brings me to another kind of element of being engaged or staying engaged, and that is creating or finding places where we can solve riddles in our lives, because riddles are really beneficial to brain health. And riddles are in crossword puzzles, they are in any kind of solution-oriented activities and situations that require functions of intelligence that are really important. They can improve our vocabulary and our general knowledge, as well as our communication skills. And so I have a riddle for you today. See if you can guess the riddle. You have me today, tomorrow you'll have more. As your time passes, it's not easy to store. I don't take up space, but I'm only in one place. I am what you saw, but not what you see. What am I?
Memory.
Yes.
Really? Wow. I was thinking of rain.
I was thinking of the past.
Past is close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Memory.
Yeah, I was thinking time.
That was fast.
That was fast. Next on our list of pillars for brain health is managing stress and ways to manage stress. And of course, there are many different tools to relax the body, relax the brain, to practices of gratitude. Are there practices for managing stress that you have found most helpful? Or what do you do in your lives to manage stress that you can share? I know, Neil, you do the EFT, which is a great stress reliever and anxiety reducer.
I actually do that very, very seldom for issues of stress. I think if I claimed one activity, which is I try and do a morning meditation of a minimum of 40 minutes. I don't always get to do that, particularly the last little while. It's been I rarely miss a morning of some form, of some half hour, 20 minutes, but I, like this morning, I did 45 minutes of meditation. But I want to share with you one thing, is that last night, I was doing the dishes. It was my turn. And I realized that I was feeling angry, and I'm saying, why am I feeling it? Well, I had just spent a half hour watching CNN on my cell phone and watching the news from the US. And I realized that I am angry at what's going on down in the US with the politics. I mean, I've lived through what, 7, 8 presidents in the United States. I have never seen this kind of insanity. Anyway, so what I did was I went and took CNN out of my cell phone. I took BBC out of my cell phone, and I took CBC out of my cell phone. I figure if I need to know something that's pertinent to me, it will come to me. It will find me. It will let me know. And so I was becoming a real addict at I don't tell anybody, but I take my cell phone to the bathroom with me. So
I saw yesterday that there's only 2 groups of people who are called users: social media and drug users. And it just sort of goes to show how that shot of dopamine that both of those things give to us, right? And way to go for managing your stress by cutting out the chaff and getting rid of all the things that can totally stress us out. Anybody else do something for stress?
I've been doing some breathing. There's some breathing routines, but it's trying to see how much further than a count of 6 I can go to. If I can get to 20, taking my breath in and then letting it out. Well, sometimes it's 7, I'm gasping, but I found that the more that I just quiet my mind and think about the counting, that is really very calming. And then I also changed the music. I like to have some type of music. And I used to have the news and stuff going, but I found it's extremely distracting, makes me angry. So I found different places. I found, you can tell, YouTube Caribbean jazz music. And one day I said Caribbean travel jazz music, and it actually found it. So that made me feel really happy. Wow, I can play with this theme. And so now my list along the bottom has got so many more choices. So that's helped me a lot.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of rewarding experience with going for walking, little walking episodes of at least 15, 20 minutes, and also meditating. But the other night I was ruminating and really emotionally charged about stuff that was going on. And I came across this quote by Lehan Stemmet. And what he does when the going gets tough is he asks, is what I'm thinking, doing, feeling right now helping me or anyone in any way? And if the answer is no, then ask, it serves no purpose. What's the point of thinking, feeling, or doing it? And the whole intent is to see the bigger picture and start in small ways to make changes in it changed my energy level so that I can shift from being stressed and ruminating and dwelling on whatever to a more positive frame.
So important, right? So
And who was that by?
Lehan Stemmet. I think I sent you the YouTube TED Talk on that one, Charlotte.
Okay.
Do you want to contribute, Leslie? Oh.
Yeah, I'm actually not as stressed as I have been in past times in my life. I went through a very stressful time with my son who has mental issues, and these are now resolved. I have a very quiet, very pleasant life with my husband and myself at home. In the past, the way I coped, yoga was a lifesaver for me many times in my life. Breathing. Now that I can't get to yoga classes, I do walks as much as I can, or I just wander around the garden sometimes. Just go out, pull a few weeds, pick some vegetables. But life is very calm right now. In large part, I think it's thanks to the COVID that I've sort of engaged this piece that I have. Writing poems, again, is another way of relieving stress for me. If I get, the emotions start to boil up, I'll put it down on paper, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how COVID has, both kind of mitigated stress for people who are introverted and like that space and time, but, increased stress for people who really need to be out and engaged with the world. And, there's a meme in social media that says, introverts don't forget to check on your extroverted friends because they're really stressed out right now.
Yeah.
So I think that, COVID has done a great service in some ways to be able to manage some of that stress and feeling like we have to do it all and we have to be everything everywhere all the time. But there are some of us who do want to be out there doing all of the things all of the time, and it's challenging. Yeah.
I want to go dancing.
Well, ongoing exercise is the next pillar of brain health. And so having an ongoing exercise practice or participating in some kind of regular physical activity is something that, especially I think as we're aging, becomes more and more important. Some of the things that it helps with are maintaining muscle mass, increasing bone density, improving balance, posture, and flexibility, having better control of chronic disease symptoms and pain that might result in that, decreases pain and depression, and can prevent falls. And that is probably, as we age, one of the most critical parts of the ongoing exercise practice, because falls are one of the leading causes of visits to the emergency room. About 30% of people over the age of 65 will fall each year, which when I heard that statistic, that's really high, you know? And often a fall can result in fractures,
broken
and declining health in general. And so balance really helps to keep yourself on your feet and to recover easily or more easily from those accidental upsets. So I have a couple of exercises that are really good for balance. And I don't know if people want to get up out of their chairs and do it. They're not complicated. The first one is called a single foot stand.
Oh no, I can't do that.
But I'll just explain how it's done. It's kind of like being a flamingo, and so you can stand behind a steady, unmovable chair and hold on to the back of the chair or this corner of a table or something.
My window ledge.
Your window ledge. And then feel the weight on both of your feet equally. And when you've got a sense of balance, pick up your left foot. Just pick it up off the ground. And just hold it there and balance on your right foot for as long as is comfortable.
About 2 seconds.
Well, while holding on to the chair, I can do it for a while.
Yeah, well, that's great. And then you can put your left foot down, find your ground and find your balance again, and then pick up your right foot.
A little bit better on the left foot.
And balance.
I think the struggle to balance really tones your muscles up as well.
It does.
These little contractions that my muscles are making.
Look at you with both your hands up. I've got one.
Like I said, that leg was easier. You know, in yoga class, you do the tree, and I last for about 2 seconds usually. You have to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel so bad now.
The other one that I have for balance is they're called Tippy-Toe Lifts. And again, you can stand either beside or behind a chair, or put your hands on a counter or your window ledge. And what you're doing is you're just pushing yourself up onto your tippy toes as high as you can, and just standing up on your tippy toes, and then returning back to flat feet and doing it again. And of course, if you can let your hands go from whatever it is that you're holding on to.
Oh yes, okay.
and tippy toe up and back down, and tippy toe up and back down.
Okay.
It strengthens your.
Oh, Luke can go up and down with both hands up.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for being good sports there.
Yeah, something I do for balance, which was a tip I got from a yoga instructor back when, is just to walk around the house with bare feet.
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing quite like just feeling your feet on the earth, and especially to walk on uneven ground. If you're at the beach or at the park, it's one of the things that's really helpful for your strength and your balance. And it feels great, sort of reflexology wise on your feet, also, which can give you a little bit of a meditation.
That's extremely stressful for me because I'm worried about stepping on things. I stepped on one of those crabs, those things with the spikes in the sand by the beach.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I stepped on one of those once. So I have on what do you call those, beach shoes, sand water shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I had a little perspective on it, and then on exercise and keeping moving, and that is a rolling stone gathers no moss. So in one of the Northern Arctic legends, and I don't know that I have the right to quote any of it, but there is a legend or a story about that, and the moral of the story I think I can share, but that is the older people age because they stay in one place. Moving makes you young. There, sorry it took me so long, but that's what it is.
I got the picture. That's great.
Yeah, I like that.
My exercise for this is that I get dressed in the morning standing up. You ever tried to put a underpants and pants and put them on and not do it sitting down?
Oh yeah, that's a
And
challenge because you
socks.
have to balance on
Socks.
one leg.
And socks.
And socks. Well, yeah, sometimes socks, but that it's. See, well, I figure I get dressed in the morning like the Queen does, right? Just one leg at a time. But
That's all we have.
I'm just thinking of myself standing up, the things that I have to call my grandson to help me up from. That would horrify him. So I'll refrain from standing to dress, but I do walk up and down the stairs 2 or 3 times a day. I'll go down the back stairs, I'll come up the front stairs.
we're on the 19th floor. I don't do the stairs.
That would be a lot.
That's extreme stair walking.
Of walking. Yeah, that's for sure. The next pillar of health is restorative sleep. And what I thought was interesting about this category was it's not just about sleep. It's particularly about getting restorative sleep. And I found a few tips about what that actually means. And the first one is that as we age, we need to understand how sleep changes. And one of the things is that we'll want to go to sleep earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. And of course, this isn't altogether a sweeping generalization, but I think that there is some truth to that. We also might have to spend longer in bed at night to get the hours of sleep we need, or make up the shortfall by napping in the afternoon, because the reduced levels of growth hormone will decrease the slow wave or deep sleep cycles that we have as we age. And so we can feel like we've got insomnia sometimes, but it's often attributed to not quite understanding how our sleep changes and the things that we can do in regards to that. Tip number 2 is to identify underlying problems. So if we're under a lot of stress, our sleep is going to be affected. If we're depressed or feel kind of flat or hopeless, that will obviously affect our sleep. If we have chronic worry or anxiety, if we've gone through traumatic experience, I know that my sleep is not the same the last few weeks since my grandma died, for instance, because I got all kinds of psychic things working themselves out. Medication can affect our sleep, and other health concerns. And so being able to identify what those are and kind of going to the root of what sleep issues we might have can also be helpful in retort in terms of getting restorative sleep. And then improving sleep habits. And the ways that we can do this are to make sure that our melatonin levels are regulated in a way that is good. Using low bulb wattage, using low wattage bulbs, and turning off the TV and the computer 1 hour before bed. I know that I'm sometimes looking at my phone in the dark and I feel all of those wakey rays keeping me too alert. And again, not reading from a backlit device at night, such as an iPad. Make sure your room is quiet, dark, and cool. Using your bedroom only for sleep and sex. Don't work there. Don't watch TV there. Don't use your computer in bed. And move your bedroom clocks out of view, so that you're not always conscious of the time, or not always conscious of how long you've been lying there and, oh no, why am I not sleeping yet? I've been laying here for an hour. Why am I not sleeping? And keeping a regular
bedtime
routine. Yeah, keeping regular routine, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. And
Robin, I have a question.
Yeah.
The effect of, I have recently began having dreams, full participation dreams, like, and they're not always, but occasionally sexual, but not always. But I really wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't even consider trying to go back to sleep, but I remember the dream I had. I had a dream last night that was, I was a spy and I was looking for some information, and it was full blown with other participants and scenery and
Yeah, you should keep a notebook by your bed and write them all down.
Yeah.
I can write a short story. Hey, you give me the topic. I'll give you I'll give you a short story in 4 hours.
Yeah, but do you remember the dream later in the day?
Well, right now I happen to remember the one I had last night, but there too. I already do my morning writing with when I do I draw my tarot card and I write about what the tarot card means, yada yada yada. I don't want to already add another layer, although your suggestion is valid.
But I think
I'm sure there are stories there,
For sure. And I think because I find this for myself also, Neil, the more that I tend to sort of tap into my subconscious or my unconscious mind, whether that's through intuition exercises or whatever, my dreams also become a lot more vivid and a lot more lucid. And it's a combination of the two working together. And it sometimes is a pain in the butt because you're awake at 5 o'clock in the morning with this very vivid story going on. But it also, I think, works part and parcel with how our waking minds are able to process some of this symbolism and some of this unconscious work that we're bringing into the consciousness through tarot and through other esoteric and occult practice. Because I find that for myself.
I found I have to.
Sorry, Charlotte.
I have to watch what I watch on TV, particularly the news and debates and those things that make me angry. I'll be angry, or my legs will hurt because I'm like kicking my legs when I sleep or something. But I've had that other thing of being captured by a dream. I watched a travel show and they talked about the Bay of Fundy and they talked about all the plants and the ecosystems there. And in the night, I had a dream where every time I got up to go to the bathroom, it took me back into the dream. And the dream was so vivid, I got up and I wrote a treatment for a movie in the Bay of Fundy. I sent it to the copyright office, paid my $50 because it gave me so many things for the dream. I dreamed, I made the thing that I was dreaming about became a woman who was trapped on a boat and going through this Bay of Fundy area. So that that was that was one use of dreams and sleep. But other times I've tried to make an accountability partner for this thing of go to sleep and wake up at the same time. That is stressful to me because 2 or 3 in the morning, I was born in that time frame, but I like to write. I'll be really excited about writing something. And if I'm really excited
Yeah.
about writing it, I don't want to put it down. I want to just
Yeah.
get it all out. So that throws me off of, oh, you were supposed to go to bed at 11:30 and wake up at 6. Waking up at 6 and 6:30 is not my friend. I mean, I do it, but it's not, I'm not as productive as when I have that, just the nights where something wants to be birthed to come into being around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, when I do it and just sleep later.
Yeah.
And I think recognizing our natural rhythm, and trusting that natural rhythm can also be really helpful with our sleep patterns in general. The more we fight them, I think that the more challenged our sleep can become, whether we're early birds or night owls, you know?
Right.
If I try to keep myself up till 3 o'clock in the morning, I would become a nutty person, you know? Because my natural rhythm is to be more morning oriented. It's where my energy is. So yeah. A couple of things that they also suggest about sleep have to do with food, which is also the last pillar of brain health. And so it's suggested to limit caffeine during the day, limit or avoid alcohol before bedtime, to satisfy your hunger prior to bed, cut down on sugary foods in general because they just turn into carbs and give you all kinds of bad energy. Avoid big and spicy meals. And to minimize your liquid intake. So that's the recommendations for sort of thinking about diet and sleep. But then for pillars of health, as we age, what we should be thinking of in terms of the diet and our nutritional needs are, what do I need to keep my bones and muscles strong and healthy? Obviously calcium and vitamin D and vitamin C, because those things are working together as a trifecta, triplicate. How do I build and keep a healthy immune system? How do I prevent chronic disease and illness? And how do I maintain my health and manage health conditions like high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes, which increase as we age to a certain extent. And so, all of the things apply, lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains and proteins, complex carbohydrates, and lots of unsweetened beverages, and B12.
Robin, just while you're on the symbol that I'm looking at from you, the 6 pillars of brain health, what are each of the symbols? I understand the weight thing has got to be about exercise.
Yeah.
Apple, besides the computer, probably about food.
Yeah.
The heart, of course, is love. We all need to I remember years and years and years ago, there's 4 things we need to get up in the morning and know what we're going to do. The second thing is want to do it, have
The,
somebody to love, and be loved by somebody. So I remember that from when my wife and I were doing marriage counseling 100 years ago.
the heart, I think, is wellness, and like that idea of like eliminating stress and how that contributes to your overall wellness and well-being.
Okay.
The conversation bubbles.
Yes.
Over on the left, or in the yellow circle, that would be for the be social, right? Like, where are we making those connections, and how are we interacting? Where are we finding our social network and our community? And then the pawn, like the horse, the chess pawn,
Yeah.
or the knight, is how are we keeping engaged? What are we doing to engage our mind and puzzle out our intellect, so that we're continually stimulated? So there you go. The 6 pillars of brain health.
And the moon?
The moon, sleep, restorative sleep.
Okay.
I too was thinking the heart of love, because your brain hurts when it doesn't feel loved.
Yes, it does.
In one Buddhist school I was participating in, the Lama said the Western science thinks that the emotions are in our mental constructions, and the Buddhist philosophy is that it's the heart that rules.
Yeah, and I mean, with Dr. Bonnie Henry talking about kindness, those are heart-centered sentiments are really part of what I think we're going to need to be well, because if you just listen to the news or the tempo of the day, it's a lot of conflict, strife, loss, etc. So just even remembering to be kind, or to be loving and talking or dealing with yourself.
One last thing I want to share about the COVID-19 stuff is that I grew up in a lumber camp in northwestern Ontario, and so my first day in school, I was 10 years old, my first day. So having playmates and friends, there was one playmate who lived in the camp for some of the time, but 99% of the time I was on my own to look after myself and entertain myself and teach myself and do my day exercises that my mother taught me school. So I'm comfortable just being on my own, So this COVID-19 has not changed my life a whole lot.
Yeah, and I'm an only child, so I grew up learning how to entertain myself as well. I didn't have brothers and sisters to engage with at all. So yeah.
Leslie, I love the fact that you and I had the same childhood in different ways.
In different ways, right?
So totally different, yet so much the same, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was really enjoyable, looking at how those things overlap and the different ways that we've experienced them in our lives. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I have a comment on engaging the brain as well. The importance of curiosity, because if you're curious, I've always been curious. I've always asked questions. If you remain curious, you're going to ask questions, and that's how you learn new things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's how you also interest people in teaching you things, because the more questions you ask, the more information they feel maybe surprised or happy to share.
Mm, mhm.
Mhm. Well, thank you for your attention and your participation and all of your great suggestions today in terms of how you practice some of these pillars of brain health. I need to pop back to my paid job, my other job. But thank you, and I will see you next time.
And just to put about next time, next week is October 1st. It's a great celebration. So wear your party hat, bring a friend, tell a friend. We're celebrating our second year, which is our first anniversary of the Powered by Age podcast. We have proclamations that are going to be presented to us. We're going to be doing some fun, creative things. We have certificates. You'll get to hear about the certificates you're getting.
Wait, before, sorry, Robin, if you're leaving, you're saying goodbye, I want to say thank you. That was surprisingly really good meeting today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your participation, as I
Yeah,
said.
thank you, Robin. That was really cool. Thank
It
you.
was very engaging. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very engaging. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Back to you, Charlotte.
All right.
Sorry,
So-
Sarah, I interrupted, but I didn't want Robin to leave without telling her thank you. That was really a good effort on her part.
That was excellent. Yes, and as you mentioned, the EFT, different people have been sending notes of things that they want to do in the future. And I thought of kind of back to the future. The group was started or one of our purposes was to show what our vision is of the profile of seniors, what is the existing profile that people have for us or that we have for ourselves. And then through our presentations, activities, reflect what we would like the profile or perception of older people to be. And then the third question is, what are you willing to do to change it? So each of you have been involved in some ways in contributing things that help people to change their perception, change their ways of doing things. So I look forward to you continuing. And we've got some interesting things coming about. So thank you. And I will see you next week. Invite a friend, reach out for someone that you know that might be reclusive. Show them how to get on Zoom. Encourage them to Zoom in and join us. Luke, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Bye-bye now.
Leslie,
Hi, Leslie.
see you. Judith,
Bye.
See you again, Neil.
be well.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, Charlotte.
Bye-bye.